how would you explain a difference between angel investor versus VC to a person who hasn't known about these topics, who don't even know about these terms? How would you explain that?
Sure, let me give this a stab. Firstly, investing in startups is giving capital to a company and giving in instead of equity in return, which means a share of future profit. So I will give you a certain amount of money that you will utilize today and in the future, and if that becomes successful, I will own a chunk of your business. So that's the fundamental aspect of investing. Now, an angel investor invests individual money. So it could be the likes of you and me, it could be the likes of high net worth individuals, folks who have generated a certain amount of their wealth and want to invest in startups. And it is purely them investing in startups. It could be out of passion, it could be for financial return, it could be to give back, it could be a founder who's made a lot of wealth and wants to just mentor other founders. It could be any of those reasons. But a venture capitalist or a venture capital fund will be more institutional in nature, simply meaning their primary objective will always be return on capital, because they're not investing their own capital. They are taking capital from a set of limited partners. These are larger institutions. Think banks, sometimes governments, sometimes endowment funds. These funds will all give a professional manager money, which manages a VC fund, and that VC fund will then invest in multiple startups, hoping to make a net return and giving back that money at the appreciation to their limited partners. So a objective differs, right? An angel investor could be investing for multiple reasons beyond return on capital. However, for a VC fund, that is the primary objective. Then the nature of capital in a VC fund is borrowed. Borrowed may not be the right word. Let's say it's more responsible. There's a fiduciary responsibility towards that capital. Here, as an angel investor, your capital is proprietary. It is yours. It is up to your discretion the way you want to utilize it. So that's the other distinction. And then style of investing as well. Considering that the odds, like you're not consequentially investing because quantums will be different. An angel investor, since they're investing in their individual capacity, will probably be investing astronomically lower amounts, right? Like there will be at least a good 50 to 100x difference, right? If an angel investor is putting in maybe 100K a year in a company, 100K in a year in startups, a VC fund perhaps is putting in at least 10 million and more in startups. So the quantum will differ, which means also style of investing will differ, because here you'll probably segregate this $100,000 into, let's say, 5K per company. So that's 20 companies. That's 5K per company, which may not be consequential. A VC fund, however, cares about ownership. Without getting too technical, the idea is that if you know that this angel investor is investing individual money, which is proprietary and has multiple different objectives beyond return on capital, that's one. And the VC fund has the contra opposite objectives.
So, in simple terms, an angel investor is someone who is passionate about your idea and wants to invest in your idea. And then in turn, they'll get ROI, like some percentage of the ROI, right?
Yes.
As opposed to VC, it's an institution that invests in your startup, and in return, they're getting the stakeholder of the company,
Yes.
or
Yes.
the shareholder of the company.
They are the shareholders of the company. They invest capital in return for certain shares of the company.
How do you find VCs? Let's say, given a scenario, having I have an idea, and I think idea के बेस पे तो वो आपको इन्वेस्ट नहीं करने वाले. You have to provide MVP, like minimum viable product. You have to provide कि आपके पास इतने customers हैं, like this is the amount of revenue you're generating, and then you go out and then find VCs. So how is the process?
From the founder lens, I think what you need to show is preparation on the fact that you can build a large company. Now, if you only have an idea, it does not mean a VC will not invest, but does that show enough preparation on your end, enough ins- initiative on your end? Maybe not. But if you've taken a step towards your idea in the form of a MVP, you validated your idea with customers, you made some progress, I think that shows more and gives me a proof point as an investor to further be interested in the conversation. So, ideally, as a founder, you should think about what you want to build, really test it out. Testing it out may mean by building a product, may also mean by doing rigorous market research from a secondary lens, by talking to from a primary lens, by talking to a lot of customers, right? Like whatever problem statement you're trying to tackle, let's say you're trying to build a AI chatbot for lawyers, right? You may not have built that chatbot yet. However, if you can talk to 100 lawyers, understand their pain point from a deeper lens. Let's say you yourself are a lawyer as well, right? You will have much more to show for than somebody who is just saying, "Hey, I want to build an AI chatbot for lawyers." So I think the idea is to provide more proof points from insights, from your conversations with others, from your research, from your approach to how you will build a company, and that will convince an investor, because an investor is trying to understand, hey, are you the best person to build the kind of company that you're talking about? So an investor is taking primarily, without complicating it a lot, a twofold investment. One is on the person and the team, and the second is on the market itself, right? So if you're building a very niche solution, let's say within lawyers only for paralegals, versus you're building for lawyers as a whole and paralegals, this will of course be larger because of just the kind of customers you can serve, right? So a venture investor will actually prefer companies with larger market sizes fundamentally.
They see your vision, like what's your like 5, 10, 20, 30 year vision.
Exactly. How deeply do you understand the pain point? How large can you make this company? How ambitious are you? Are there proof points from the past that prove you're ambitious? Can you face adversity? Because building a startup is a very difficult journey. If you become successful, it will take a reasonably long amount of time, which means all of these softer aspects become a very, very crucial part of what you want to do. And then critical thinking to saying that, okay, have you thought through what your execution will look like? Have you executed in the past? Can you work with a lot of ownership? Because initially, like all of the large companies that we look at right now, are large once they are successful. But let's say the 4, 5, 7 years it takes for people to recognize that, okay, this is heading somewhere, it's going to be very lonely. You have to execute yourself, and you have to be the one ensuring that things are on track. So can you do all of that, right? Are you more accustomed in your past experiences to not take initiative and have a team to you, or have you hustled in the past? Have you ensured that, okay, you can build things from scratch? So I think all of these questions are what a VC is trying to constantly answer in all of their interactions with their founder. And then you go ahead and decide that, okay, this is a good space and these are the best founders to build a company in this space. Let's go ahead and do this investment. That's usually the nature of investment in the early stages, because there's not much to prove. So if you're a founder with an idea, I recommend just drill down further as to, hey, what makes your idea very compelling? The insights, the vision for it, the mode of execution. Then test it out. This should not be theoretical in nature.
You should not be dating anyone. You
Yes.
should not be in a relationship.
Yeah. And I mean, just like ensure that you're all in. That's the thing that's connected, because I think this is just such a tough journey. That's what I've heard constantly from founders in my network, and they all keep iterating that if you're starting a company because it's glamorous, that's the last reason to start a company. You should start one because you are in it for the long run. You recognize the problem statement and feel passionately about it. And if you do it for those reasons, I think there'll be higher odds of success.